Welcome for joining this webinar. Today we are talking about how nonprofit can benefit from using a duplicate check. Welcome Peter and Ruben for joining us today. We are looking forward to see how duplicate check can be used for nonprofits. We will address these topics. We will see a demo of duplicate check, and we will talk about how the nonprofits can benefit from a duplicate prevention functionality. Let me first introduce us. We are a Cloud for Good. We are Salesforce premier partners. We operate in several countries, United States, Canada, and Netherlands. And our main focus are nonprofits. What we do, we bring transformational value with Salesforce and Salesforce ecosystem partners. How do we do that? We are making the best choices for and helping our customer to choose what's the best application or app to improve specific needs. We are doing that for last 10 years. In last year, we opened a Dutch office, and here our Dutch team. We have Tal Frankfurt, founder and CEO of Cloud for Good, Sergey, it's me, Ruben, Alex, and Leanne. We specialize on complete Salesforce implementation. We have expertise in multiple clouds. This is why we actually can look on higher picture and advise our customers to make the best choice. And let me introduce Peter. Let me switch. Yeah, Peter.
Yes, thank you, Sergey. So my name is Peter. I'm from a company called Cloudy, and we are the company behind the popular app Duplicate Check and Record Validation. With me, Ruben joined as well. He will do the actual demo, and I will show you some slides to give a brief introduction what we do in nonprofit section and in cleaning as well. And I show you in a few simple steps how you can work towards a duplicate and validated database to improve your marketing efforts. I have to share my screen. I hope I can click on this. So this will be, so wait a minute for this to join. So for some reason, it should start off. Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we are Cloudy. We're a Dutch-based company, and we provide native force applications. I'm going to show you now for the looking to 2086 simple steps towards a validated and duplicate-free 2018. Others are showing me this screen. Should be the right one.
Yeah.
So you're going to share this.
Yeah.
Okay. So well, you have my my introduction. So it's about looking at a clean 2018 towards a duplicate-free Salesforce and MPSP. We are a company, we serve companies worldwide, a lot of non-profits and also profit companies in order to dedupe. We are the #1 deduplication app in Salesforce worldwide. There's more than 37,000 installs. It's safe, so it's 100% native force, which means that there's no data going in or out in order to dedupe. All your data stays within Salesforce. We are completely lighting ready. Of course, it works in Classic as well. And we provide both prevention and cleaning in one application. So there's no limits in number of users. So everybody can help you keep it clean. And it's very easy to use. Ruben's going to show you that in a minute. Next service we have is the validation of addresses worldwide, email addresses and phone numbers. This is a service we launched in Q4 2017. And it works both in manual entry and in batches, and also lightning ready. For nonprofits, we work, so it's MPSP compatible. We serve a lot of clients worldwide. Well, we improve lead management. So there's only one single customer view, and that's what you want to achieve. There's also the increased trust in your CRM data. So you know that if you send out a mailing that you don't send several mails to the same client, because there's only the single customer view. So a decrease of miscommunication. The legacy CRMs are looking back in the past years. There's data coming in via each way, so it leads to less revenues, less funds, etc. But also there will be, and looking towards 2080, a possible GDPR breach. Why is GDPR? That's for in terms of CRM, in terms of duplicates. Your clients have the right to be forgotten. So be aware that if you have duplicates in place and there is a client that says, okay, I don't want to be on your mailing list anymore, it would be very handy if you have only one record and not having them, this one donor being listed multiple times as a lead as well. So that's handy in terms of the duplications. And your data storage, you need to know where your data is stored. So if everything with our solution keeps in place in Salesforce, you know where it's stored. Now, there's a few simple steps if you want to work towards a duplicate-free and validated Salesforce. So we made 6 simple steps. So you have to determine what is your data purpose. So what's the need and the use of your data? So you can create and make everything clean, but first you have to make clear what the data need is. You can collect every data, but you don't have to touch anything. So make sure what is the most important part of your data. Is it emails? Is it physical addresses? Is it campaign information? And the best thing would be to scope your current data problem, and that would be the business problem and not the data problem primarily. That's step 2. So then you do a data analysis. So currently, does your current data fit your data needs as well? So if you want to do emails, it's handy to have the email addresses in place and have the validated email addresses. And is that data qualified as well, or is there a lot of empty fields? So how do I have to improve that? Also make a map of the data flow. So how does your data enter your Salesforce? So you map that out. Next step is you make a data plan. So which sources are there and in Salesforce itself. So what fields do have to be mandatory? Which fields do I have to validate if they are in Salesforce? Which people are responsible for that? And define rules in order to improve that by the moment of entry and also when it's in Salesforce. And the next step would be to set up prevention features. So each way records or data enters your Salesforce, you can set up prevention features, a batch upload, manual entry, web forms, etc. And same goes for validation. So if you do manual entry, validate your phone number, validate your address, physical addresses if that's important for you, or email addresses. And then if that's all said and done, you can set up a clean, you can clean and validate your existing database within the object or cross object. It works on, so duplicate check and record validation works within any object, on each field, which whatever you like. So custom and standard doesn't matter. And once you did that, the initial cleaning, it's not that you're said and done, so you're, but you have to keep on monitoring and improving. Your data is alive, so keep on monitoring and sharpen your strategies. So you have to define different strategies to find all duplicates and to optimize your data. And the good thing is that you can give access to all your staff to help you keep it clean along the way. So this is where you should head in 2018. A single customer view, clear donor management, GDPR ready, and more efficient campaigns. Now I'll switch to Ruben, and he will show you how to do the setup of strategies and how to clean in batches and manual entry.
Thank you, Peter, for your introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome, Ruben. Let me make you presenter. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Awesome. Thank you for introducing me. Hi, everyone. My name is Ruben. I'm a support engineer here at Duplicate Check and Record Validation. And today I'd be happy to show you the two apps that we built. They are available in the App Exchange of Salesforce, and they run natively on the Salesforce servers. And I want to show you two applications that we built. Duplicate Check, the first one, it's a tool to duplicate data in Salesforce. And I want to show you record validation as well. And record validation is a relatively new tool that we recently launched. And it is a tool to validate existing data or existing records in Salesforce, but also validate new entries, so new records into Salesforce. And I'd be happy to show you that in my demo environment. I've shared my screen here, and this is my demo Salesforce environment that I want to use to show you first duplicate check and then record validation. Duplicate check is mainly capable of doing two things. We can find existing duplicate data in any object, like Peter already told us. Besides that, we can also prevent new duplicate records from coming in. And by using duplicate check, we have a way of preventing duplicate records in any way you can think of creating a record in Salesforce. So if you're manually entering records, or if you're importing a bunch of records via the import wizard or data loader, maybe you have an integration with another system that syncs records, we can basically work with any way that a record enters Salesforce. First, I want to show you how I can find existing duplicate records real quick. And I'm doing a quick demo, so I won't go in too much detail. So for that, I'm going to open up my lead objects to show you the current status of my leads. And it's always a good idea to deduplicate your leads, because you don't want to reach out to a lead twice. It will be quite unprofessional, of course. And as you can see, my current status of my data is pretty bad. I've got these Irma Jimenez records that are in there 5 times. I've got Paul Kraft in there 3 times. So yeah, I need to clean this up. After installing duplicate check, you gain these steps at the top. We got the DC search page, the DC setup page, the DC job page. And today I want to work with the DC job page. The DC job page and the DC job feature is a feature to identify duplicate records in batch. So I can enter that page and brings me to the job overview, the one that we're seeing right here. And I can add a new job on the top right to start looking for duplicate records. So let me do that. I will just click the Add New Job button, and this modal will pop up. And at first I have to define the name for the job. So I have to find a name, and it can be any name of your choice. It doesn't really matter what you fill in. I'm going to look for lead duplicates, so that's what I'm going to call this job. The second step is simply selecting the object you wish to perform the search in for duplicate records. And I can enter the drop down here. And currently I have configured these 4 objects, being the lead object, the account object, the contact object, and my opportunity object. Then again, we work with any object. You can easily add them to our setup page, the DC setup page. You can configure them, and then it is very easy to start looking for duplicate records in those objects as well. Also, if you might be using a custom object. Right now, I want to clean up my leads. I got too much duplicate records in leads, so I've selected leads. Another thing I could decide to do, but I'm not doing that today, is to run a cross-object job. And that basically allows me to compare the records in my lead object with the records in another object, an object of my choice. And it makes sense, for example, to run a lead to contact job. And that way I'm going to compare all my leads with my contacts to see if some of my leads already exist in the format of a contact. And if it does, I don't want to have it in my lead object. I want to have it in my contact object only, because a contact is probably a paying customer already, and a lead is someone that you want to maybe reach out to. So by running this lead to contact job, it will identify duplicate records across objects, and it allows me to activate the Salesforce convert. So I can move those leads towards the existing contacts, and in that way clean up across objects as well. So it's a very nice feature that we have in duplicate check here. If I just want to look in one object only, I can simply select the lead object twice, and it will focus on my leads only, and we'll compare, and we'll try to find duplicate records in that list that we saw before. Before we can start this job, we have to apply a scenario, and the scenario basically decides how we are going to find the duplicate records, and based on what fields and what values. And there's a lot you can configure there. You can basically decide yourself based on what fields you want to check if there are duplicate records in your system. It's very flexible and highly configurable. So yeah, please check that out in our at our website. There are a lot of possibilities here. So I'm going to start this job. Simply clicking the start button here, and it will start running. As you can see, it's currently processing, and it's comparing the records based on my scenario. Just to tell you something about the scenario, my current scenario compares the records based on first name, last name, company name, email, and phone. And if there is a 75% match on those 5 values or higher, then it will return as a result in this job. That's what I configured it to do, but you can change that. So this one is completed. You can see that I ran one previously. So I have 2 jobs now, and I can simply access the results by clicking View Results. So duplicate check, simply put in groups all the duplicate records that are in my lead object. And I've opened up the groups here with this arrow icon, and I can check what's in them. And you can see all these groups, and we can see Irma Jimenez, the one that we saw before. Well, a nice clean list of duplicate records. So after getting this list out of your database, you can start thinking about merging the duplicate records. We can merge this entire list at once, which is of course bound to a lot of rules, and it's highly configurable as well. So you can really take control of the automatic merge process if you decide to do that. You can also decide to activate or to execute a manual merge. I want to quickly show you that by merging this first group here, the Jennifer Blake group, I got 3 Jennifer Blake records. And as you can see, I've got the 3 records here. They are placed next to each other. And I can now select the fields that I would like to keep in the master records. And the master record is decided at the top. The master record is the record that we're keeping. And the fields that are highlighted in blues are the values that we're keeping in that record. So for example, I know that maybe this is the right last name, maybe this is the right company name. I can see all fields by clicking on these buttons here to trigger the equal fields and the empty fields as well. So this is basically the entire contents of these records. And when I'm happy with my setup, I can press the merge button. That will merge the 3 records into 1 record. On the background, we will reparent all related objects and records to the master record. So it's a good thing to keep in mind that we will never lose any information in the merge. We will combine everything into 1 quality record. As you can see, the first group is now gone, and that's for the simple fact that we merged it, so it's no longer a duplicate group. So yeah, you can decide to handle all these groups manually or activate that automated merge. It's pretty easy to configure, and it's all very, you can find it in our knowledge base how to configure this and how to install duplicate check, for example. So definitely check that out at our website, duplicatecheck.com. So once you have your database cleaned up, if you merge everything that you found, then you can start thinking about implementing prevention features as well. Like we said before, we have a prevention feature literally for every way you can think of creating a record. But I want to show you the simple way today, and the simple way is just by creating a lead in Salesforce. And I'm now working in Classic, but this works in Lightning as well, and Salesforce One as well. Basically all Salesforce platforms we can work with. So keep that in mind as well. So I'm going to enter a new lead, and you probably know this guy, and he's from the White House, without a D, of course. And his email address is something like this. Let me make a spelling error here. Why not? And I'm going to hit the save button. And you can see that duplicate check will prevent me from saving this record because there is a match with an existing one. 98%, there is already a Barack Obama in my system, and the actual company name is the White House, and I've now filled in the White House or whatever, just to show you that we can bring back results that are similar. They don't have to be exactly the same for us to be considered as a duplicate record or as a duplicate value. We have fuzzy algorithms which can analyze a value and can see that you, for example, made a spelling error. So if I extend that a little bit by messing up the first name, the last name, and the email address as well, you can see that will still prevent me from saving the record. It will adjust the score to 91%. Because it's really smart, I can really see that even though none of the values are exactly the same of the existing records and versus the one that I'm filling in now, but you can still see that it's definitely a duplicate record, the one that I'm filling in. So this logic can be applied to any way that you can create a record in Salesforce. So keep that in mind. So that's basically what duplicate check does. We can get rid of all your duplicate records that are already there, but also the ones that can enter as new duplicate records. And you can download us from the App Exchange, appexchange.salesforce.com. So yeah, definitely check that out. So the last thing I want to show you today is the other app that we have, Record Validation. Record Validation is a tool to validate and format your records and values in the fields, of course, that you decide. And to show you that and how that can be applied, I'm going to create a new contact because I have overwritten the entry page of the contacts to go to the RV entry page, the record validation entry page. And that looks something like this. And I'm going to first enter a street address. And I'm always using the same example of the public library in New York. And the public library in New York is located at 476 Fifth Avenue in New York. So I'm just filling that out in the mailing street field. And you can see that it's giving me a suggestion right away. And these suggestions are formatted and validated addresses that really exist. And if you get a suggestion like this, you know that it's always in the right validated format, your visual address format of that country. We can work with almost any country in the world. So that's really cool. So you can now pick a suggestion. And when I do that, you can see that the values will be divided to the right fields automatically. So not only is this nice because you can get a validated proper address right away from Salesforce, but it also saves you a lot of time because you only have to enter a partial value of an address and we can give you the right suggestion right away. So you can fill out records really quick and be really sure about the data that you're entering. So we don't only have address validation, we also have phone number validation. And the phone number of the New York Public Library is, of course, 1917. I'm reading this, of course, 275-6975. So you can give them a call later. And now when I move out from this field, it will check if the format of this phone number is correct or not. And if it's not correct, it will change it to the right format. And we can see that right in action right now. So you can see that it now changed it to the right official US format of a phone number. So I can simply enter it any way I'd like. And if it exists, then it will put it in as a value like this. It will change it. We also have an email validation. So when I enter a new email, and let me use mine for now. I have a pretty weird Dutch name. If I enter ruben.vandekamp@cloudy.com, you can see that it does a suggestion as well. And if I go here, then you can see that the email format is correct and the mail servers are configured. So it basically gives you the confirmation that this is a real email address. And if you send an email to this address, it will definitely arrive. So that's basically what we do with record validation on an entry page, which is really useful, and it really has a great effect on the quality of your data with the right address, right phone numbers, and the right email addresses. We can also do this in batch form. So we can automatically analyze all records in your Salesforce and, for example, validate and format everything with the click of a button to the right address formats, right phone number formats, and we can tell you information about your email addresses. And that's basically what I wanted to show you today. So probably I'm going to give word back to Sergey.
Yeah, we have several questions. Yeah, one question about duplicate check and web forms. Can you describe the flow of integration with web forms of duplicate check?
Yeah, sure. So when you have web forms that enter records into Salesforce, then we can implement a feature on that as well to show you if the record that you're entering or that is entered by the web form already exists or not. If it already exists, then we can merge it right away from the spot. I can quickly show you that if you'd like that. I have a web form here. It's this beautiful web form. It's not so beautiful, but it works. Let me quickly check if I have set my configuration right to catch up this duplicate record. So this is something that I'm not going to explain because that will take too much time, but I'm checking here if my scenario is applied to the web form that I'm going to check out. And I'm going to check the direct tab. So you can see that I have applied a direct merge on web to leads here. This is a tool called direct processing, which is in our paid packages as well. So if you're interested in automatically merging or converting duplicate records that are coming in, then definitely check out direct processing. So what I can do now, I can go to my form. I can enter it, and let's enter Bereik again. Why not? He is Obama@usa.com from the White House. And as you know, he is already in my database. So I'm going to submit this one. And right now I can go back to Salesforce and I can go to the audit logging page. And the audit logging page, as this process that we now activated, we inserted a record via web form, it happens outside of the Salesforce UI, and everything that happens outside of the Salesforce UI can be found at the audit logging page. So I can access the audit logging page here and see if something happens. And you can see that a new lead was added via web to lead, and it was directly processed via direct processing. And you can see that under my username, it merged the lead into Barack Obama, so the existing lead. So it's a way to automatically merge duplicate records that come in via web forms or imports or via the API even. So yeah, imagine the possibilities with that. Did that answer your question, Sergey?
Yeah. Thank you for showing an example. And we have another question about enrichment of address data. Can your address validation app enrich incomplete data on address, for example?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's definitely something that we can do. So on a partial address value, we can return the full address. So if you're missing, for example, a postal code, or you're missing a city or any part, we of course need sufficient information to definitely know that it's about that address. But if we have that information, then we can return the full address in the fields.
Okay, thank you.
That's what we saw with the public library example as well. I didn't fill in the postal code. I only filled in 476 Fifth Avenue in New York, and it returned the postal code as well. So that's an example of how it could work.
Okay, and I have a question about Lightning. Does your app compliant with Salesforce Lightning?
Yes, definitely. We work with all Salesforce platforms. Our app is even totally built out of Salesforce components, or Salesforce Lightning components, I have to say. So it's fully compatible, and it's also built in the same style. So you wouldn't even know that you're working outside of Salesforce if you use our products.
Okay. Thank you for explanation.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Thank you, Peter and Ruben, for being with us today. And I hope our customers will benefit from this demo. And I think it's an interesting app to consider to deploy in your Salesforce environment. Thank you again, and we will see you soon again.
Okay. Thank you for inviting us, Sergey, and speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.